Okay, if you are 7 Excel, we are working from the Advanced 2 textbook. If you are Math 8, we are working from the Course 3 textbook. We are doing lesson 7.1. 7.1, finding square roots. And it can be found on pages 290 to 291, I think. Let's see. Yeah, page 290 to 291. So finding square roots. Okay, so let's talk about the nuts and bolts. This is a radical sign. And we use it to find the square root of a number. Okay, so this is a radical sign, and we use it to find the square root of a number. Okay, so let's talk about that. The square root of a number, 7 times 2 equals 49. So 49 is a perfect square, and the square root is 7, right? Because 7 times 2 equals 49. So let's talk about when we use the radical sign. So we have the radical sign over 49. This means we want to find the square root of 49. Okay? So 7 times 7, or 7 squared, equals 49, right? So we're breaking it down. We're breaking 49 down. 7 times 7, or 7 squared equals 49. So the square root of 49 is equal to 7. Okay? So that's what the square root means. And if you see a square root with something squared, they kind of cancel each other out, because you're looking for the square root of something squared. So they cancel each other out. So let's do some examples. Okay, if you have just the radical sign, there is an invisible positive sign in front. It's there, it's just invisible. Okay, so this means we're looking for the positive square root of 16. Okie doke. Well, 16 is 4 times 4, or 4 squared. However your brain works. Some people see 4 times 4, some people see 4 squared. They're both the same thing. So our answer is equal to 4. And it's equal to positive 4. That invisible positive sign is there. Okay? Okay, so why do signs matter? Well, sometimes you'll see negative square root of 16. Negative square root of 16, okay? So here again, we have negative 4 times 4 equals 16, or negative 4 squared. So our answer is going to be negative 4. Now, why does this work? Why does negative 4? How is negative 4 the square root of 16? Why does this work? Well, what's negative 4 times negative 4? A negative and a negative is positive, and 4 times 4 is 16. So you still get positive 16 when you've got 2 negatives. And that leads me to the last one. Sometimes you'll see this, positive, negative. square root of 16. So what we're looking for is positive, negative, 4 times 4, or 4 squared. And remember, the square root of a square, they kind of cancel each other out. So our answer is positive, negative 4. And why does that work? Well, positive 4 times positive 4 equals 16, but negative 4 times negative 4 also equals 16. So technically, there's 2 correct answers to this, positive 4 and negative 4. Okay, so let's put some of this to practice. Let's put some of this to work. So we want to know, what is the square root of 25? And since we don't have anything in front, it's that invisible positive sign, okay? So I know 5 times 5 equals 25, or 5 squared equals 25. So the square root of 25 is equal to 5. And that invisible positive is there. It's there, it's just invisible, okay? So what happens when we have something like this? Negative 9 over 16. Negative 9 over 16. So this negative is going to stay in front. And I know that 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 4 is 16. Or 3 over 4 squared. So our answer is negative 3 over 4. And now I have a positive, negative square root of 2.25. Now, I know my math facts, and I know 15 times 15 is 225. So I know that 1.5 times 1.5 is 225, or positive negative 1.5 squared. So my answer here is positive negative 1.5. Because positive, why does this work? Why is there 2 answers? Well, because 1.5 times 1.5 equals 2.25, but negative 1.5 times negative 1.5 still equals positive 2.25. That's why this works. That's why there's technically 2 answers, positive 1.5, negative 1.5. Okay. Okay, so let's take this one step further. Let's take this one step further. We have 5 times the square root of 36 plus 7. Now, when we're working with square roots, it's kind of like parentheses. We want to solve what's inside the parentheses first, right? Well, we want to solve what's inside the radical sign first. So the radical sign is kind of like parentheses, and we want to solve what's in here first. And it operates like parentheses. When we have a constant right next to a radical sign, it means multiplication, just like in parentheses. So we want to solve what's in the parentheses or inside the radical sign first. So this is 6 times 6, or 6 squared. So this is 5 times 6 plus 7. 5 times 6 is 30 plus 7 equals 37. Okay. So let's take this another step. 1/4 plus the square root of 18 over 2. No, not the dreaded fractions. It's not that bad. So just like parentheses, inside the radical sign, we want to solve what's inside the radical sign first. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. Well, I know 9 is 3 times 3 or 3 squared. So this is 1/4 plus 3. So this equals 3 1/4. That fraction wasn't too bad, right? And let's take a look at one more. Uh-oh, we've got parentheses and a radical sign, 81 parentheses squared. I know that a radical sign and something squared, these should cancel each other out. They should cancel each other, but let's work it through just to make sure. Okay, parenthesis sign. 81 is 9 times 9 squared, or it is 9 squared. Okay? So we still need to do what's in these parentheses first. So this is 9 squared. What's 9 squared? What's 9 times 9? Oh, it's 81. So I was right. The square root of 81 squared, the square root and the squared cancel each other. And I'm left with 81. Okay. So let's do one more problem. Problems like what we've been doing. Let's do one more. Let's apply this. Okay. We know that the area, we're going to talk about area of circles. The formula for the area of a circle is area equals pi r squared. And sometimes they give us the radius, but sometimes they give us the area. So in this case, the book has given us the area, 45,216 equals pi is 3.14 r squared. And we want to find the radius. Okay, so let's isolate our variable. I'm going to divide by 3.14. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. And definitely use a calculator for this. 14,400 equals r squared. I need to get rid of this squared. I only want one r. So I'm going to square root this because the square root of something squared leaves us just this, right? Because the square root cancels the square. But what I do to one side, I must do to the other. Now here, you're just going to have to use a calculator, basically. So this is equal to 120 times 120 is equal to r times r, right? Or you can look at it another way. 120 squared is equal to r squared. You can look at it this way or this way. Either way is fine. So 120 equals r. So we've already been doing this. You already know how to do this. Okay. Let's do 2 more practice problems. Let's just do 2 more for good measure. Okay, 12 minus 3 times the square root of 25. So just like parentheses, we solve what's in parentheses first. We're going to solve what's inside the radical sign first. And when you have a constant next to the radical sign, it means multiplication. So let's do the radical sign first. So this is the same thing as 5 times 5 or 5 squared. So this is 12 minus 3 times 5. 12 minus 15 equals -3. And let's do one more. I want the square root of 28 divided by 7 plus 2.4. So I need to solve what's inside my radical sign first. 28 divided by 7 is 4. Oh, well, that's easy because that means 2 times 2 or 2 squared. So this is 2 plus 2.4 equals 4.4. So that's what we're doing today. You need to know your math facts, kind of. For some of them, you may need to use a calculator, especially when it comes to problems like this. You might need to use a calculator. So let me show you that real quick if you need to use a calculator. Now, different calculators work differently. It depends which kind of calculator you are using on, if you're using a handheld calculator, your phone, or the computer, okay? So some of them, like this right here, for some of them, you're going to type in the number first, then hit the square root sign, okay? For other calculators, you hit the square root sign first, then you type in the number. So you're just going to have to experiment with whichever calculator it is that you're using. Do you type in the number first, then hit the square root sign? Or do you hit square root sign, then type in the number? It depends on the calculator you're using, okay? Okay, do I have any questions? So that is what we are doing today.